In yesterday's video, we spoke about how Bitcoin was likely to make a move around about 97,000 bucks. And seeing as we have now had that move in today's video, I want to be speaking about what is likely to happen, well, onwards and forwards from here, perhaps even the possibility of $100,000 in today's period. So before we get into that, I do want to once again let the more active traders out there know, especially if you're more experienced as well, if you're a noob trader or if you're just a noob in general, or if you're a gambler, probably not relevant to you, but you can get 10% cash back on all of your trading fees, essentially a 10% fee reduction on all of your orders, whether it's a market order or a limit order, which is incredibly rare. I don't even think that exchanges do it anymore, to be honest with you, or at least I haven't seen it. And it is here for Bluffin. It'll be in the link in the description below. It's also for the lifetime of your account, so you can lock it in right now. Even if you don't, even if you don't really intend to use it, and it'll apply not just for the lifetime of your account, but also it's the only non-KYC exchange that I'm aware of right now that actually has some liquidity on it. And I think because we've actually had a pretty good turnout with this promotion, I'm going to be able to get an even bigger discount, which, yes, will apply retroactively to anyone who uses this link. So again, it's there for you if that is relevant to you. Okay, so let's now get in the actual price action analysis of today. Bitcoin has hit the measured move, the implied target based off of this ascending triangle right here. One low, one higher low, or number two higher low right here, number three higher low right here. Again, that's just buyers getting more aggressive, and Bitcoin did follow through as we did see no closures below yesterday's pivot at 92,400 on the 6-hour time frame. Thus, the implied target of 97,400 has actually been closed about just perfectly right here on this fresh 6-hour dildo. And what typically does happen after a target like this is met is you actually do get a bit of a short-term pullback. But because Bitcoin is in an overall rally mode, I kind of look at this short-term pullback as yet again likely to potentially try higher here. So let's talk about potential for potential areas of continuation based off of daily statistics. Let's actually go first to the historical price action statistics indicator, and we can see that Thursday has been more or less a coin flip in whether it's likely to close positively or negatively, literally 50% on both sides since 2024 began, and actually on the average return side, kind of on the lower side as well for both. But you can see that Bitcoin is actually trading right now above the average returns high, so you do expect greater than average returns during obviously trending or breakout moves, whether it be a breakout or a breakdown. In this case, obviously, it's coming to the upside. So, what does this suggest if Bitcoin does, especially, close above those average returns? We're seeing something different, and something different within the context of trading, which typically is going to be 70 to 80% of consolidation time. It's going to be breakouts. So I expect that this would continue upwards and onwards from there. So technically speaking, that upper boundary would be about 96,300. Bitcoin can come back there in the short term, no problem. But if you do see Bitcoin close the daily above there, likely a good indication that Bitcoin will continue upwards and onwards, probably into the end of this week. Also on top of that, looking at the CT sequential, which is included in the HPass package, which you can find a link to in the description below as well, if you're more statistically minded, we can see that Bitcoin has been putting in a nice sequential run right here. We've had 3 straight green days, which doesn't happen, super often. The probability of getting a 4th straight green day is actually almost 5 3/4. But what's very interesting about this is that the average returns, when you do have 4 sequentially closing green days, would actually put Bitcoin at a little bit above 100,000 bucks. It'd be a 101,250 or so. So I suppose, 100,000 bucks, as we said at the beginning of this week and also on Twitter, within the next couple weeks from the beginning of this week is very likely. I think we could maybe see this today if things do continue on from here. The problem is that, again, when you do hit a nice implied target like this, a lot of the time you do get a pullback from there. So it makes getting aggressive within these territories quite difficult, in my opinion. But as Bitcoin does kind of loom into the the deeper 90s, I want to reiterate just one of the things that my mentor taught me early on in my career. So just like a weird observation that he had, and then I've also I suppose confirmed that as well with my own experience, and that is when assets typically get into the nines of a number, so whether it be like 9, 90, 9,000, 900,000, almost always gets a free ride to that nice round even number of 10, which in this case would be 100,000. And we've essentially seen Bitcoin have a straight shot up since it started settling into the $90,000 territory. So, does Bitcoin hit 100,000 bucks from this move? Probably yes, before an actual correction. But I really want to be on the ball now with stating that, hey, a correction is, a decent correction is very likely coming relatively soon time-wise. Maybe Bitcoin has another week or two before it occurs, but timing-wise, it's becoming very, very relevant right here. Why do I say that? Because again, if we go over here to the daily BBWP indicator, we can see that we did hit one extreme over here, which you do expect on extreme highs. And to be fair, I mean, Bitcoin did go into a week-long sideways move from there. The second time that we see this go extreme, which I believe we probably will see on this move, these are usually like very, very important highs. I'm not saying Bitcoin's going to reverse and go into a bear market or nothing like that, but a decent pullback within the context of a bull market, that could very easily be 15% all the way up to even 30%. So it depends how high Bitcoin gets first. And, anyone who's been around this space since, even the last few years knows that when Bitcoin or cryptos in general, when they break out, you don't want to try to guess the top before the top is actually in, because it always goes further than what you think. So, we could have, we could have a nice overshoot of 100,000 bucks, wash out all the people who think that they're going to be geniuses, shorting 100,000 because 100,000 must go down, or I don't know what the reason is, but something like that. And then you actually get a correction. But you could have, a nice continuation move before that. And I think that's a little bit more likely of what's to happen here. Again, with Bitcoin freshly breaking out, I do expect volatility to expand once again. So that would imply that we probably get, another extreme read here. So when you start to see Bitcoin daily BWP get back around here, be very, very cautious. I don't know what price point that's going to be at, but and it can be much higher, to be fair. I mean, this will take time, but just be aware that that's a very, 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 very strong signal that I've seen in the past for a decent top for a while. Anyways. Moving on from there and referencing my notes, we've gone through the price projections. We've gone through that. Let's now get into the HPDR. Many things with the HPDR. So not only have we seen the measured move from this formation going on here on the 6-hour time frame, but also Bitcoin is at the median for the monthly HPDR. Now, again, the monthly operates on a monthly closing basis, not closing for another about 10 days or 9.5 days here. So I would be aware that, it is a little bit less likely to actually close above this median on first pass. You can get a wick above, and we very likely do get a wick above, but I'd probably be expecting this month to probably settle around the median. Again, I can be completely wrong on this, but this is one of the more, it just happens very, very often. Now, the thing is that if and when Bitcoin does reclaim it, topside projection targets for potential, cycle highs are going to go, all the way up to here to the 38.2 level, which as of current is a little bit below 160,000 bucks. So, again, that's not going to happen in like the same fucking month where it reclaims there. I mean, I would think it's unlikely to, but that would be kind of like a general area of interest, I suppose, for, moon boy targets, if you will. Now, going down to the daily time frame, should also be known that Bitcoin, getting back above the sort of areas that you would expect when a trend is emerging. Again, that 61.8 level right here, or especially the 50% level, which it actually opened above today. If Bitcoin closes anywhere above the 61.8 level, which is where 96,400, we've seen that number come up a few times now. I mean, it very likely puts in a wick, at least somewhere around here. The 76 level, which is 101,650. Again, another number that continues to pop up. Very interesting. If you've been paying attention to these videos for the past week, you've probably heard me repeat this many times. The 5-day time frame just opened up freshly as well, and opening up well above the 61.8 level. I mean, it could, theoretically, it could come back down there and back test it, no problem. But the top side of the 78.6 level, it doesn't necessarily have to get there, but it's just kind of like a general area of interest. If we do get continuation, is where 107,000 bucks. We're seeing a lot of things coming around that region. So if Bitcoin does get an extension from here, you probably get a little bit of a pullback around 101, but Bitcoin probably overshoots you know, perhaps all the way up to 106, 107-ish region, and then plays out a decent pullback. Again, these times can get really fucking crazy. If you were here in 2017, you know this. And I really think that what we're looking at right now is a similar playbook to 2017 as well. Anyways, let's go ahead and look at stochastic momentum pivots. We have them right on over here. Again, 5-day just opened up. It's really in the critical zone. Again, that is an indication of a very, very strong trending movement, and it can stay in there for a while. But it's like the timing of this. We're pretty deep into it. We're pretty deep into it. I do think it probably has more. It's becoming more and more difficult to say that each and every day, just because like it's not going to take too much to get a pullback. But right now the pivot is 91,700. So as long as Bitcoin's above there, okay, fair enough. You know, upside still more likely, I suppose. 3-day time frame, which I believe closed last night. Let me just double check on this. Yes, indeed it did. 92,150 is the pivot. 2-day time frame is, again, also way up here in the critical zone, 96,700, and daily is going to be also up in critical regions at 95,600. You know, again, these are really, really extreme reads that we're seeing right now. So, you know, if you're late to this rally, it's a difficult do right here, in my opinion. You know, it's a difficult move. I would not, you know, rule out the possibility of continuation. In fact, it's probably more likely right now. But after a move somewhere around or above 100,000, I do suspect that we will get a pullback, and it'll probably be vicious. You know how Bitcoin can operate during these times. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this video. Again, 100,000 bucks today. Is it possible? Well, according to our sequential predictions over here, which worked really fucking well on the last rally, beginning on November 5th, it's possible today and tomorrow. So today, Thursday, tomorrow, Friday. You know, perhaps we see that 6-digit Bitcoin. How will you know that I'm wrong on this and we're actually going to see a correction first? It'd be actually the same thing as yesterday, coming back down, closing a 6-hour time frame below 92,400. Hey, correction is in order. Expect back down to probably the mid 8s, or sorry, not 8s, but 80,000, so 85,000 bucks or so. But until then, you know, upwards and onwards is the pathway of is the pathway of least resistance. It would seem like as of right now. So, as always, comes with invalidations, but yeah, congratulations to all the people who've been sticking around during these times. This is what you've been waiting for the past, you know, many months, especially, you know, that whole time frame from about March to September, that very, very boring time frame. But yeah, that's where we'll end off for today. As always, I want to wish everyone the best of best. Oh, I forgot to tell you a little story about Elsa yesterday. She's been trading the shit coins. She is like perfect top signal, by the way, as well. And today she wakes up and she sees her peanut coins have gone down another, I don't know, 20 or 30% overnight, back to probably around her entry. And, and I explained to her, you know, this is how much you would have made if you sold over here. This is how much you're making now. And you probably also lost a little bit as well. She says, that's mean. I don't like it. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's probably something that we've all gone through as well. It's just funny to see, her go through it. So fair enough. Anyways, like I said, I'll sign off on that note. As always, wishing you the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow, Friday, maybe even with some new price action.